Now, when you read this, you thought, oh, he's getting preferential treatment because he's a murdering cop. No, they told you this for a reason. Let's go back to his first reported mugshot. This is the Derek Chauvin you know. These are the officers or accomplices. This is their only mugshot since being booked a year ago. Derek Chauvin has taken 4 separate mugshots in different clothing at different times, different angles, in a less than a year. Why? It should be painfully obvious that this is not the cop who killed Floyd. The reason why you keep seeing him with new mugshots is to indoctrinate the lie over the truth. They have successfully managed to trick your eyes into thinking these two men are the same. With a case of this magnitude, this is why I said America would never announce their L's without a purpose. The man who went through that whole process is an actor. I've stated this the first time I laid eyes on this fake cop. America, a Masonic organization or corporation, does not eat their own. Police departments are an extension of that Masonic LLC.
So again, thank you, George Floyd.
What is this look into the sky? No one has gone to heaven before judgment. And the few that were taken up without dying definitely weren't fentanyl users. Everyone else goes right to Sheol to either be tormented or the bosom of Abraham. And I'm, of course, referring to the story of Lazarus.
For sacrificing your life for justice.
Sacrifice? Who wants to be pulled out of a car, kneeled on for an advancement of social justice? No one. But this is how United States is set up spiritually. Before anyone knew what Freemasonry was, this owl was blueprinted, planned, and mapped out to a T by the founding Luciferians of this country. The owl is another symbol for Moloch. We tithe and offer to the all-living God. When it comes to idols, they sacrifice to things that have no life. They sacrifice to demons. So Pelosi, regardless of her religious background, sees the death of Floyd as a sacrifice unto the agenda of drawing African Americans into replacing police departments for a one-world UN security force. I've covered the color purple before and its symbolic meaning as it represents oneness. Red being Republican, blue being Democrat, purple being a fusion of the two along with transformation and other pagan qualities. Like numbers, they use purple as a form of divination. Purple iPhone. NASA X sends an astronaut to fake space with a purple headband and a mask that's not even on properly and didn't even know COVID was out past the firmament. But I reiterate, if they've been lying about space, you think they can't lie about Derek Chauvin? NASA is a Masonic corporation. Megan Rapinoe changed her hair color to purple. Breonna Taylor's mom, all the purple in the background. Pelosi's press conference, the woman behind her wearing purple. Andrea Jenkins, first openly transgender on city council, wearing purple.
The very moment that the decision was announced, Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts. It brought a cascade of emotions for George Floyd's family watching the trial right here in Houston.
Our Jonathan Martinez continues our live team coverage from 3rd Ward with their reaction and where the movement goes from here. Jonathan.
Yeah, guys, we can tell you all day and all night, many people have been showing up to this mural here in 3rd Ward to pay tribute to George Floyd. That includes his family, who says their work is far from over.
It tickles me every time I see halos and wings for sinners who die in their sin and thinking someone as righteous as Yah will pardon it because he was killed by a cop. People forget Yah controls life and death, not the devil. He just perverts judgment by you showing sympathy for the devil and not knowing it. I mean, they actually tried to sell you a fake image of Floyd holding a Bible randomly between a random group of black men.
Finding Derek Chauvin guilty.
Yes! As the verdict was read, the family of George Floyd, including his sister LaTanya and many others, were visibly emotional.
Oh my God. I feel like heaven is standing on my shoulder. My brother got justice.
See, purple. And to tell you the truth, I'm not even confident that's a woman or man. But that's why it's wearing purple. Transformation. Red, blue, male, female, a fusion of those qualities. So the goal isn't police reform. It's restructuring the entire system to bring in the UN. They have to use blacks so the Democratic Party can absorb the spiritual energy needed to do so. So you'll see more white cop kill black citizens, and they will use white men as mass shooters to take away your Second Amendment.
After another mass shooting, President Biden now calling to tighten gun laws.
I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future.
The president urging the evenly divided Senate to back 2 bills that would expand background checks. The proposals have already been passed by the Democratic-led House.
This is not, it should not be a partisan issue. This is an American issue.
For those bills to have a chance, Democrats need the support of at least 10 Senate Republicans. But Republicans have mostly been reluctant to make any change they say would infringe on Second Amendment rights. Within hours of the bloodshed in Boulder,
what are we doing other than reflecting and praying?
At a hearing on gun violence, Republican resistance was clear.
Every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater where this committee gets together and proposes a bunch of laws that would do nothing to stop these murders.
As a candidate, Mr. Biden pledged to introduce new gun control legislation on his first day in office, which he did not do. But on Tuesday, he pushed Congress to reenact an assault weapons ban, like the one he helped pass as a senator. Colorado has an assault weapons ban, but a judge ruled that Boulder could not enforce it 10 days before the shooting. For more than a decade, it's been a familiar script. After mass shootings, the public demands action, and Congress has done little, even after the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary School. Nicole Hockley's son, Dylan, was one of 20 children killed in Newtown.
I need people to stand up and say, we're not taking this anymore. We've done wonderful work in curbing the pandemic. Let's curb this epidemic as well before it kills more people.
The Constitution allows, and the Gun Control Act allows, for Americans to manufacture their own firearm for their personal use. And that's the key, personal use. The firearm is located where the trigger mechanism is, where the components are that allows the weapon to fire. So that is the part that's important to law enforcement. We consider the firearm to be the lower receiver where the trigger housing group and its components are located. The upper receiver, which is this, the barrel, and the bolt, those are not regulated. So I'll get in here. And usually this is only finger strength. There it goes. You have a functional rifle at this point.
The idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic. Let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic, and it's an international embarrassment.
First, we will ensure that we understand and measure the problem of criminal gun trafficking in a data-driven way. Over 20 years ago, ATF undertook a gun trafficking study. It then issued a report that provided information necessary to better understand and to combat criminal trafficking networks. No such study has been conducted since that time. Currently, however, some manufacturers market and some individuals purchase certain kinds of stabilizing braces that, when attached to a pistol, effectively convert it into a short-barreled rifle. A weapon that is, in the words of the statute, quote, intended to be fired from the shoulder.
Like the China social credit system, you all will start yelping and snitching on each other and having your weapons confiscated.
Today, I'm proud to nominate David Chipman to serve as the director of the AFT. David knows the AFT well. He served there for 25 years. And Vice President Harris and I believe he's the right person at this moment for this important agency.
In Bill Cooper's book, Behold the Pale Horse, he highlights what the one world government hopes to achieve by using mind control mass shooters. I mean, why do you think they're always arrested without incident? They are federal property.
Authorities in Indianapolis are focused on Brandon Scott Hull. Police say the 19-year-old who used to work at the FedEx warehouse and took his own life during the attack used 2 assault rifles purchased legally last summer. Months earlier, police had confiscated a shotgun from Hull after his mother had raised concerns about his mental state.
In the book, it reads, the government encouraged the manufacture and importation of military firearms for the criminals to use. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity, which would lead to the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms, using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion. The CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. This plan is well underway and was so far working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment.
Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are a vassal state of the United Nations by treaty and by passage of the United Nations Participation Act. This has been admitted in law. It has been admitted by a Supreme Court judge who has stated emphatically that whenever a judge is deciding anything that has to do with the Constitution, he must have on his desk a copy of the Constitution for the United States of America and a copy of the Charter of the United Nations. When the two disagree, the United Nations Charter will prevail. Don't believe it? Get off your butts and start digging, because it's true.
We're not talking about an evil genius somewhere in Bavaria. We're talking about America. Here is the new world order. We are in the middle of the most diabolical, conspiratorial movement ever developed on the face of the earth. The Illuminati have been purposely organizing, directing, and financing wars, revolutions, violence, and bloodshed, so that it will sufficiently impress and frighten the world of humanity into accepting a new order, a new police state that will finally put down all the law and the disorder in the world. And it is the oldest trick in the book. Our greatest enemy is not in a crack house, it's in the White House. It's not in a bar room, it's in the boardrooms. And so the point I'm making is that we are being manipulated from the very top. And we need to wake up and find out that America is not the land of the free and the home of the brave, because we're not free and we darn sure ain't brave.
A new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
You're going to find that we have a new world order in place. What do we have to do? Incite a revolution to avoid a revolution, or wait for the second coming? The choice is up to you.